YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk a little bit about habits and the science behind habits and share what I've learned from you in a book I've been reading recently, Atomic Habits. And also because we're getting ready to start a new month here, or we're already starting a new month, and so that means a new habit tracker in my journal. And so I wanted to kind of share how I'm using that as well with you. So first reminder, you may have heard me say this before in other videos and in my social channels, but I always like to remind people that when you hear that it takes 30 days to make or break a habit, just know that that's the minimum amount of time needed. That the actual time it takes to create a new habit or to break a bad habit could take a whole lot longer. It could take months, and that's okay. So I share that with you so that you don't get discouraged if you find that within 30 days you're not where you want to be. So another thing that I found interesting in Mr. Clear's book when I read it is that he talked about habits and compared them to compound interest. So similar to like when you start, a new savings account and you put a little bit of money in there, over time, it's going to pay off because it compounds and that interest is going to grow, right? We all know about that. So habits are somewhat the same way. You're going to start out by making tiny changes in your life, making 1 or 2 new habits. And at first you may not see a big impact in your life, but if you keep at it and you keep adding new habits, or you keep working on the ones that you're wanting to make and break, over time, you will start to realize a big difference in your life because they do compound on each other as you continue to grow and evolve as a person and continue to work on improving yourself. So that's another thing. Similarly, when we talk about improving ourselves, one of the things you can do when you go to create a new habit is to associate a statement with it that asserts your identity with respect to that habit. Because we like to protect our identity, and if we can find a statement or a belief that we have about ourselves, or we create a new belief about ourselves with respect to this habit, it's gonna help us work a little bit harder to actually create and take the work and the steps necessary to make that habit actually become a solid habit. So as an example, this month in my habit tracker, my one habit to make is going to be morning stillness and movement. And the belief, or the affirmation even, because you can use it as an affirmation, that I made associated with that, and you can see I put that down here in like a bright orange so that it sticks out to me when I look at my habit tracker each morning. The belief is, I lovingly take care of myself. Because to me, that morning few minutes of stillness and meditation in the morning, as well as finding some movement, whether it be yoga or taking a walk or something to that effect, I find that to be really important in my well-being. And so with that affirmation or belief, I lovingly take care of myself, that really helps to assert that this habit that I'm creating is one that's part of my identity. And to give you another example, the second habit that I have this month for the one to break is going to be fast eating. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you'll know that I've been working on this one for a while. But I'm really encouraged because I continue to see small bits of improvement over time. And I know that both that will help with respect to my enjoyment of my meals, as well as my digestive system too, because I used to just really speed through every meal. And I'm finding now that I definitely start more slowly, and I catch myself, through the meal. I've been eating fast for, many, many, many years. And so I recognize that this one is going to take a bit of time to change that habit. So the other thing that I found really interesting in the Atomic Habits book, he talks about the laws. There's 4 laws of behavior change, and if you use those with respect to when you're working in making and breaking habits, that can be really helpful to you too. So the first law is to make it obvious. And there's a couple of cues that you can give your brain to make it really obvious what you're trying to do or what you're wanting to do. And those two cues, researchers have found, are a time and a location. So if you just say to yourself, say you want, one of your habits is that you want to exercise more. If you just say, I'm going to exercise more, you are less likely to be successful in making that happen, as opposed to if you were to create a time and a location for that. So say, perhaps you say, I am going to take a run in my neighborhood at 7 o'clock every morning, or 3 days a week, or whatever it is. But when you attach that time and that location to it, you've made a plan at that point. And that plan is going to make you more likely to actually stick with it. That's another thing that scientists have found, that people that have a plan actually are more likely to be successful in executing that plan, or in the case of habits, of actually making that habit actually be one that they have solid in their life. So the next one is making it attractive. That's the next behavior law. And so there's some ways that you can do this. One of the ways is if you bundle making a new habit with something that you already enjoy doing, that can make it attractive for you to do. So I guess an example of this might be, say you're a person that really loves your morning cup of coffee, and you want to find a few moments of stillness in the morning. Well, what if you decided to take that 5 or 10 minutes of stillness every morning before you have your cup of coffee? So you're bundling it with something that you already enjoy. And in doing that, you are more likely to actually follow through as well. So another idea might be, if you're wanting that time to yourself, maybe you really enjoy taking a walk. And so maybe you bundle taking a few moments of stillness before or after your walk. And that might be a way of doing it as well. So another interesting thing about this, it works in the opposite direction too. So if you're trying to break a habit, you want to make it such that it's not attractive to you to do. So the third law of behavior change is that you want to make things easy. So in this respect, one of the ways that we make things easy in our lives is really just to practice it. We practice it so much that it becomes automatic. So if you think about brushing your teeth, you do this every day first thing in the morning, and it's a habit that you don't even think about doing. You get up and you do it, right? And it's the same way if you want to build another habit. You practice it and you practice it and you practice it until over time it just becomes automatic for you to do. You want to create a situation where it's easy for you to do this. So in my example, going back to if you want to find some stillness, or you want to meditate daily and try a few moments of daily meditation or daily writing in your journal, you're not going to want to sit down in front of the TV and do that, because that's going to distract you. So you want to make it easy that you're not distracted. You want to set up a time and a place that feels inviting to you and that you won't be interrupted. So making it easy is another really important facet of behavior change that will help you in creating a new habit. Similarly, if you're trying to break one, you're going to make it really difficult for yourself. And this is where another thing that I found really interesting in the Atomic Habits book is that scientists have found that when you talk about the self-discipline of trying to break a habit, that people that exhibit great self-control, and they've researched people that have seem to have a ton of self-control, when it boils right down to it, they are not really any different than the normal person and people that are struggling, honestly. What they found is the people that exhibit a great deal of self-control, they have a plan and they make their environment such that it's easy to follow through on their plan. So you may have heard often, if you are wanting to eat better, not to have junk food in your house. And that will help you because it's not easy. Again, back to the behavior, laws of behavior change. In this case, when we're wanting to break a habit, we make it difficult. So if there's not the food in your home that will have you break, will have you not be able to follow through on your intention for that habit, it'll make it that much easier for you to break that habit, because you're less likely to have to think about, okay, well, I'll get up and I'll go to the store and I'll grab myself some munchies. You're more likely to distract yourself in another way and follow through on it. So making it easy to follow through on the habit, making it difficult if you're trying to break a habit. And so the last one is to make it, the last law of behavior change rather, is to make it satisfying. So in this case, it's interesting to know that the things that you enjoy doing on a regular basis, even before you actually do them, just the knowledge that you're getting ready to do them will give you an increase in dopamine level in your body. And so you're already getting a reward for doing that thing that you enjoy doing on a regular basis. So to the extent that we can make a habit really enjoyable to ourselves, so that we get that dopamine hit before we do it each time, that really helps to create this new neural feedback loop in our brain that helps also cement this new habit, because your body wants to do things that are pleasurable and enjoyable. And so anything that you can do to make it satisfying will help as well. So then I wanted to talk to just a little bit to you. That's pretty much the science that I've read so far in this Atomic Habits. And again, real easy read, great book. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm finding it very interesting. So, maybe I will share a little bit more on another video in the future. But I wanted to also take a little bit of time to tell you how I'm using my habit tracker too. I like to color them, but you can check mark, that type of thing. I also have some areas down at the bottom of the habit tracker in the J&B Living Journal that talks about how to stimulate the habit and make it enjoyable, and how to discourage it and make it unpleasant for the ones that you want to break. So kind of going back to our habit science there. A few other things that I've done with it in the past, I'm not going to be doing it this month, but I may have mentioned this on previous videos too, is if you want to track more than just a couple of habits, or you can track other things on it too. I, for a while, was using the numbers and actually color coding those according to how I was feeling each day. And then I was putting little dots above the numbers for how well I had slept. And that was really actually a really interesting exercise, because I found on the days when I color coded, I think I was using like red or like a kind of more of a hot pink color for when I felt anxious, as opposed to like a blue or green when I was feeling grounded or feeling relaxed, that type of thing. But the days that I color coded that I was feeling anxious during the day were the days that my quality of sleep that night was not as good. And I guess that kind of makes sense, but seeing it on paper really kind of cemented in my mind the importance of the steps that I take during the day to try to reduce stress and be calm and take the time really to assess, how I feel in my body, because sleep is really, really important. That's when we regenerate at night, right? That rest and relaxation is, extremely, extremely important for good health. So that's a little bit about science of habits and using Habit Tracker to track your habits. Just a couple tips there. I hope that you have enjoyed this video today. If you have, if you would give it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more content like this, then make sure you subscribe to the video as well. Leave me any comments or questions. Would love to connect with you if you have any more thoughts on habits, or you want to share any of your own tips and ideas about what's worked well for you with respect to making and breaking new habits. I'd love to read those as well. So thank you so much, and have an amazing rest of your week.